Hello Absurdifans, welcome to chat. Today, this is my review of Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. Yes, went and saw it yesterday, and I have some things to say. Before I start off, yes, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, and you're kind of on the fence, I'll start off by saying, go and see the movie. It is not deserving of all the 1-star reviews I've seen thrown around for it. It is enjoyable, or it was for me. So, if you're kind of on the fence, play it safe, see the movie. Maybe don't see it in 3D, I don't think that's really warranted, but if you can get a normal ticket, go for it. But otherwise, there will be spoilers in this review, so just fair warning, here's the warning. So I'm going to start off with some of the negative and try and work my way up to, you know, the more positive things by the end, and then just give an overall verdict so that you guys know where I am on this film. The story is okay. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's just alright. It's fairly average. Not gonna blow anyone's socks off. But the three main threads, Batman's, Superman's, and Lex Luthor's, kind of jump around a lot in the early parts of the film. Like, I think it jumps around a bit too much. Like, it goes, here's a little bit of Batman's, here's a little bit of what Superman's going on, here's Lex Luthor. I think it would have benefited if it spent a bit more time on each main thread before it moved on to the next one. But as it is, it felt a little bit disjointed and maybe a little bit rushed. Looking at it, the whole picture, once it comes together, the story was okay. I just think it could have been edited together a bit better, which was a shame. But ultimately, the story's fine. Another minor little problem I have is that Batman's justifications for, you know, hating Batman start off pretty good, because it starts off in the final fight scene of Man of Steel, and Bruce Wayne is driving through Metropolis to get to the Wayne building there, and he sees it's been destroyed, a lot of his employees are dead or wounded, he helps rescue a few, and I think he's fairly justified in feeling angry at what's happening, at what Superman has brought to not just Earth, but more directly to people who work for him, his family, his employees, things like that. So that starts off pretty well. But after that, it seems that the justifications were thinner and thinner, with Superman going around saving people, but admittedly maybe causing more collateral damage. There's one particular big thing involving Lois in the Middle East. The more people die because of Superman's involvement. So there's an argument that could be made there. I think Batman's justifications get a little bit flimsy, especially when Luthor starts egging him on, not directly, but kind of with his little taunts and jabs that he throws at them. But there could be reasons for this, which I'll get into a bit later, but, you know. Themes of Superman's morality and, you know, what it is to be good, what good is, how that's perceived on different sides of conflict. These are good themes to explore, especially when you have a character as powerful as Superman running around the world, creating great collateral damage at times. But unfortunately, those themes aren't really ever fully explored. They're kind of opened, and sides of the argument are presented, but any sort of statement that the film tries to make is left ambiguous at best. By the end of the film, those are really kind of fall by the wayside, and no real conclusive statement is made. So that's a shame. Hopefully they'll touch a bit more on that later in the films, because if anyone remembers, like, the Justice League cartoons, they touched on that really well. So I'm hoping we'll get some sort of conclusion on those themes, because they're good themes to explore. Like, they did a really good job of opening them, but then nothing ever came of it, and it kind of just wafted away in the fight scenes, which was a shame. The weakest character of the film was probably Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Now, admittedly, he may be playing Lex Luthor Jr., because he keeps mentioning his dad, who founded LexCorp, so maybe that was Lex Luthor, but this, again, is debatable, because by the end of the film, his hair is shaven, so he's got the bald Luthor look going on, and he talks about his father as if he's not around anymore. So I think this is just Lex Luthor. And his wisecracking, eccentric, millennial billionaire personality wanders dangerously close to Heath Ledger's Joker at times. And I don't know, he doesn't really exude the sense of a genius-level threat, or really any kind of decent threat in the movie that this movie really needed. He plots and he schemes, and his machinations do kind of drive forward the conflict a bit, but he never really earns the supposed genius status that he has. We're just told that, oh, he knows that bit of information because he's a genius. He can manipulate that or do these things because he's a genius, but we never see it. We're just told that, oh, this Lex Luthor is so smart. But in my mind, he never really earned it on screen, so he was just this guy who happened to know things. He was a Deus Ex Machina in character form. Hopefully they sort that out if they bring him back. But yeah, at the moment, he was weak. Very, very weak as kind of a central antagonist. And also Doomsday was, greatly wasted on this film, which is a shame, and I hope he turns up later to provide more of a threat. But, he still provides the kind of big, bring them all together villain that the movie needed for the, final fight scenes, so, that happened. But, yeah, Doomsday, I kind of expected him to be a letdown after seeing all the trailers and stuff. Moving on to some of the better bits of the movie, Henry Cavill is good as Superman. I enjoy him as Superman. He's probably one of the best modern Supermans I've seen. He's struggling with how the world perceives him and what he does. And it's good to see Superman actually struggle with that and not just have an answer. This Superman is still very early on in his whole saving the world shtick. So it's good to see him, think about that a bit deeply and come up with decisions that maybe classic Superman wouldn't have done. Maybe he's a bit more gruff, maybe he's just a bit more defeated by people's expectations and perceptions of him. It's good to see. It's nice. Admittedly, he probably does a bit more soul-searching than I would have liked, but, that's a relatively small part of the film, and I was okay with that. He appears to be a very good character, even though most of the characterization in this film is not very deep. It relies a lot on implication and allusions to things. It would have been nice to have more characterization just, done more expressively in the movie rather than kind of alluded to, which is a shame. I really don't know what I'm doing with my hands. I'm sorry. Ben Affleck is phenomenal as this older Batman. Seriously, everything that I've heard about the movie seems to paint Ben Affleck as one of the best parts of the movie, and that is true. He is great. I love his Batman. This is a Batman who is older than we usually expect. He's probably mid-40s, maybe early 50s, but he says in the movie he's older than his father ever was. So this Batman has lived a life and he has seen some shit. In one scene in the Batcave, we see a Robin costume spray painted in yellow, presumably by the Joker, saying ha ha, you failed to save your family, things like that. So we can infer that he's already lost at least one Robin to either death or defection or something. This is a Batman who has gone through a lot. And as such, he is a lot more haggard and he is a lot more ruthless. Seriously a lot more ruthless. Again, this is kind of alluded to and inferred by set pieces like the Robin suit and his kind of PTSD nature in his dreams and what he goes through and what he thinks and his conversations with Alfred. Again, would have been nicer to see more of that explained in the movie, because then the audience would have had a better idea of why he is quite so ruthless and why he now really hurts people and kills people. Now, this is a big one. This is a big thing. This Batman kills people. And this has irked quite a few people, understandably, because supposedly Batman's big thing is he does not kill. Which, again, is debatable looking at, like, previous films, like Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, anyone? Didn't directly kill him, but, you know. And in other fight scenes, he's definitely at least maimed people, if not just straight up killed people in past movies. But anyway, looking at what is inferred in this Batman's past, how much he's gone through, how much he's lost, just how, God, almost tired with everything he is, I was okay with it. I would have liked to see it more explained and explored. Hell, a solo Batfleck movie would be great. I would love to see that, to see more about this Batman. But I'm okay with it. And I really enjoyed seeing him do what he did. Admittedly, he's not like shotgunning people right and left, but he does still take out some people. Usually people who present the most threat in the scene, like, you know, guys on miniguns who are shooting at him, things like that. But yeah, otherwise Ben Affleck's Batman is great, especially when teamed up with Jeremy Irons as Alfred. Jeremy Irons is wonderful as Alfred. Another reason I want to see a standalone Batfleck movie, because he is great. Gal Gadot, yes, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She's awesome. Loved her. Admittedly, not much in terms of characterization because she's not in the movie too much, but her involvement in the movie feels right. Like, she turns up and it's built from there so that she turns up for the big old fight at the end, and she is badass. Seeing her fight was awesome. Oh my god. So I'm really looking forward to her standalone movie, because hopefully we get some more things on, you know, Themyscira and, you know, the Amazons and just everything about her, because there is a picture of Wonder Woman in this movie from like 1918 in Belgium, and she's got warrior gear, she's with some soldiers. There is a rich mine there, DC and Warner. Just go for it. And one thing I really loved about Dawn of Justice, actually, was it gave us a little look at more of the Justice Leaguers, and more than I thought we were going to get. So during the movie, Batman in his investigations kind of gets some data from Lex Luthor, and Luthor has been investigating these meta-humans, and they include Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman, as well as Wonder Woman with the picture of her that I said earlier. And each of these characters, Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman, gets a little video clip that is played and shows them kind of either in action or, in Cyborg's case, sort of being created. And it was so cool to see. It was a great little treat that I just was not expecting. And also Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Oh my god. Like, he is a gorgeous man as it is, but yes. So once again, this is ramping up for the full Justice League movie and the little, like, side movies for every character as well. That's one thing this movie does really well, is it does build a foundation for the rest of the League, the rest of the Justice League. And I think it does so in an okay fashion. I'm excited to see the other Leaguers, which is good. So that's a good sign. But moving on with this actual movie, the visuals are once again saturated in like the dark blue, dark orange filter that, you know, these modern gritty reboot DC Warner Brothers movies seem to have, which is a shame. You do not need the actual visuals to be so dark and so, like, all one colour. You can have a gritty film, just make it gritty in the writing and the themes that you're dealing with. It can still be colourful, for God's sake. But otherwise, the visuals are great. I think they were fine. Very comic book-esque, which is good. Some great set pieces and visual moments, such as after Superman flies up into space with Doomsday and gets nuked. Yeah, Superman is like floating in space and healing through the power of the sun, and that was a really cool little visual in there. The fight scenes are great, which is, you know, pretty much par for the course with a Zack Snyder film these days. Especially when Batman goes to rescue Superman's mum. Oh, that is intense. Thematically and just tonally, the film is darker and more serious than most Marvel movies, which is not a bad thing. Marvel has created their brand of superhero movies, and that's great for them, but that doesn't have to be the blanket format or blanket tone the superhero movies have to have. A lot of people aren't a fan of this kind of serious superhero movie. That's fine. You are absolutely allowed to not be a fan of that. But I'm okay with it. So I had no quarrel with it at all. And while most Marvel movies follow a pretty much identical format and structure, and, you know, watch all of the Marvel movies, they do, Warner Brothers and DC do seem to be trying to mix things up a little. Admittedly, it still follows the kind of superhero format, but, you know, the structures are slightly different, and it's good, it's refreshing, you know. It's not just beat for beat the same movie, every movie, like a Marvel film. Not saying I hate Marvel films. I love Marvel films. Really looking forward to Civil War, but try and tell me that the format and structuring is not almost identical in every single one. Overall, I enjoyed Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, and I don't think that all the scorn and hatred that has been kind of loaded on it is warranted. I really don't. I think it's, well, actually no. People are entitled to their opinion, but I don't think it warrants that kind of vehement anger that people have. I think that's an overreaction. Is it the Citizen Kane of superhero movies? Of course not. No, I never expected it to be. Is it flawed? Definitely. Yes, it has its flaws. But I still think it's enjoyable as it is. It's it's average. It's a 3-star movie, 3-star out of 5. And that's fine. It's fine. People forget that movies are allowed to be average these days. It doesn't have to be, oh my god, or oh my god. It can be, yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. That was fine. So, you know. But this film has genuinely got me excited for Suicide Squad and the Justice League film, although maybe they want to pace the movie a bit better. Maybe get a different writer-director, maybe, I don't know, but I enjoyed it. And it's set up a solid foundation for the rest of the DC franchise, which I think is what Warner was going for, ultimately. And I am still looking forward to the Aquaman movie. Because, fuck you, Aquaman is awesome. So that was me. That was me on Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. What do you think? Have you seen it? Am I completely balls to the walls wrong? Just let me know. I'm interested. I know this movie has kind of attracted a lot of scorn and has divided filmgoers quite a lot. I've tried to be as unbiased as I can be, but I like comic book movies, and I've read the comic that this film was supposedly based on, so of course I'm biased. But I've tried to be as moderate as I can. The film is flawed, but I enjoyed it. So get in the comments, let me know if you agree, disagree, whatever. But for now, that's me done. So I hope you guys have a great week, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next chat. Bye!